Hi, how fast the time flies, right? We are at the final lecture, and again, looking back, introspection is looking back, therefore, looking back is, figurative always. Looking back, we always feel how quickly has the time flown. There isn't much to that if it's only time has flown. Along with the flown time, if we have also grown, that would be real development, right? That would be real evolution. So I hope you could also say very proudly, how much have I learned in such a quick span of time. In about 3 months you will have grown literally taller. Probably you can check yourself. Don't do that literally. You say, well, you know what I mean, right? Figuratively, we would have grown taller, and we would have added at least some depth to us. That's very, very remarkable, right? How do we measure the quality of one's life? How else but through measuring the depth one has acquired through one's reading, through one's interactions, through one's very way of life, right? So I just hope these classes have added, some meaning to your life. I hope these classes have added, some sense of pride into you. And I really hope that you have learned something, not just academically, but also for life. Because remember, more than an academic course, courses like this have a life value. That's the intention with which we began this course. While of course giving you the academic certificates and the degrees and helping you achieve your career goals and all this, the real objective of the course is of course to create a kind of a companion course that can help you in life, that can help you live a better life, a more meaningful life, and a little more contented life, right? I hope the purpose has been served. Well, that's for you to remark, all right? So in this class, we have, just as a measure of quick feedback and of course a quick recollection, we are introducing this quiz, all right? So rather than recalling in a formal way what all we have learned, what we have done, we have curated a beautiful short quiz. I hope you enjoy doing it. This is our third quiz, right? I remember you're enjoying both the earlier quizzes. Therefore, we thought we could end this course, Elements of Literature, Add Creative Communication, with another beautiful and befitting quiz. All right. Again, this is not going to be graded. Therefore, like you have taken the earlier quizzes, sit, relax, and if you wish to be a little more proactive and if you want to increase your learning curve a little more in an effective way, please keep a pen and a paper ready. So as and when a question is asked, you can just note down the answer. Most of them are either MCQs or just one word answers. So see if you can answer them. So I could confidently say that if you have scored after this quiz, if you have scored, we have 20 questions here. If your score is above 15, that means you have been a remarkable student, an exceptional student, something like that. Even if you haven't scored above 15, it's absolutely all right. As I said, now after having taken the quiz, you will have learnt all the questions, all right? So if there are some areas that you spot require some additional attention, you can always go back. These videos would be available on Swayam portal, on NPTEL portal, and they could even be available on YouTube. Therefore, you can always go back to them and play back whatever you need to play back and enhance your understanding, all right? So let's go ahead and take this quiz, and please relax and see how much of what we have taught or how much of you have heard, if you can recall. And like ever, we have also introduced a couple of surprise questions that are basically meant to test your contemporary awareness. Therefore, we may not have discussed them, but you will have read them in newspapers, some kind of awards and things like that. So don't be surprised if there are surprise questions. Okay, so let's begin with an easy question. So here comes your first question. You have 30 seconds to answer it. See if you can answer it quickly. But of course, if you need more time, you know what to do, right? You can always pause and then get the answer and then answer it. Who among the following does not belong to the Bombay Circle of Poetry? Remember, during our class on Indian English poetry, that was the week, we discussed various cities and their connections to poetry. So see if you can spot the odd poet out. Who do you think is not a poet who belongs to Bombay Circle of Poetry? Is it ARUN KOLATKAR, Giv Patel, Adil Jusawala, or Jayanta Mahapatra? If your answer is Jayanta Mahapatra, which I'm sure it is, you're absolutely right. You've got one complete mark. This is Jayanta Mahapatra, and we said that Jayanta Mahapatra is the pet child of Puri, something like that. So Puri shaped him, not so much as not Bombay, but Puri, Konark have shaped this poet, Jayanta Mahapatra, remarkable Indian English poet. Here comes your second question, and again we have a timer. Who has authored this extraordinary literary piece, a mini epic in itself, called Sarpasatra? Sarpasatra. Again, during our discussion of Indian English poetry, we have discussed this remarkable work. Who do you think has authored Sarpasatra? The correct answer to the question is ARUN KOLATKAR. A remarkable piece. In fact, I distinctly remember after having read Sarpasatra, again, probably I must have grown a bit deeper. I must have grown a little more philosophical, things like that. So please read that work if your time permits. Okay, ARUN KOLATKAR, Sarpasatra. So we have the third question here. Which of the following is considered the first feminist text in the Western canon? Remember, we must have discussed this during the second week, right? Different ways of reading. So especially on our class on feminism, right? We must have also discussed this particular text on other occasions as well. Which of these particular texts is associated with the genre inaugurating work, something like that, or a movement, an entire movement is born out of this particular text? Which text is it? Of course, all of them are related to feminism, remember, and the first work, that credit goes to Mary Wollstonecraft's Vindication of the Rights of Women. Vindication of the Rights of Women. We said, 1798 was it? Just check the year. I might be wrong. Please cross-verify that. A Vindication of the Rights of Women by Mary Wollstonecraft, towards the end of 18th century. Now, fourth question, timer starts. Who first used the term confessional poetry? We again discussed this during our week on Indian English poetry. Probably we are asking too many questions on Indian English poetry week, right? Yeah, maybe some kind of partiality, rightly founded maybe. See if you can spot the answer. Could it be Sylvia Plath or Robert Lowell? This is not a name that you think you remember, right? Kamala Das, yes. Yeah, maybe could it be Kamala Das, because you remember we discussed it during a class on Kamala Das. Well, the answer is not Kamala Das but Rosenthal. In fact, while discussing the poetry of Kamala Das, we said she belongs to, or she could be rightly called, confessional poet, an Indian confessional poet. And during that time, we remember having brought in Rosenthal and confessional poetry. He is the first to use the term confessional poetry. Of course, Kamala Das and Sylvia Plath are, they are well-known confessional poets. All right, Rosenthal was the first to come up with the word, the term confessional poetry. Now again, question 5. Which of the following poets is associated with Harlem Renaissance? Of course, this is, we discussed it while discussing, American poetry, right? See if you can spot the poet. Ngugi wa Thiong'o, Chinua Achebe, Wole Soyinka, Langston Hughes. Well, the correct answer to this is Langston Hughes, and we remember, right, Langston Hughes, that remarkable poem, I Too Am America. What a moving poem, right? I mean, if you read it, you can, though the tone is slightly subdued, you can understand the repressions, the repressions the entire generations must have felt, right? The repressive regimes the entire black generations must have felt. I Too Am America, a beautiful response to Walt Whitman's poem, right? So Langston Hughes plays an important role. He is the poet associated with Harlem Renaissance. So here comes our next question. Which of the following is not a type of character? While discussing, techniques, fiction, different, elements of fiction, we discussed various types of character. We also discussed it during our discussion of drama, right? So there are various types of characters. So which of them is not an actual type of character? Round character, flat character. Well, this sound, you have round, flat, diagonal. You have some kind of, associated with, could it be any of them? Or foil character doesn't look like, one. Could it be foil character? What is it? Well, the correct answer to this is, remember, foil character is also a type of character. The correct answer to this is diagonal character, because there is nothing like a diagonal character. Okay, this is something that can be kept in mind. Diagonal character. All right. Yeah, diagonal character. There is nothing like diagonal character, whereas foil character is there. That's a very important type of character. Okay. Now, question number 7. Natya Shastra. Again, we must have discussed this just a few classes ago, right? Now, I'm sure all of you should get the answer correct. So, this particular work, a major Sanskrit treatise, is associated with which sage? I'm sure all of you answer it correctly because we heard it just a few classes ago. The answer is right, Bharata. Bharata Muni is associated with Natya Shastra, the first work that deals with various elements of Indian drama, a kind of a Lakshanika Grantha, what we call it, something that deals with, describes the features of drama and all that. Okay, Bharata Muni, Natya Shastra. Yeah. We go to question number 8. What do you understand by the term political allegory? Again, this is a question probably we discussed during our discussion of fiction, right? So we discussed the animal form. Was it during that context? What do we mean by political allegory? Well, could it be literature on politicians? Can you call that political allegory, or a work of art with hidden political meaning, or political drama? None of these cannot be the answer. Well, the correct answer to this, it's not exactly a literature on politicians as such. Probably, I don't know if there is any particular genre of a novel dealing with that. Political allegory is a work of art with a hidden political meaning, whether it's a story, a fiction, painting, anything. On the surface, it tells one tale, but when you scratch it underneath, you find deep political meanings, right? That's why animal form becomes an extraordinary, allegory, political allegory, right? I'm sure you must have, got this question too correctly. Let's go ahead and see our 9th question. According to the story The Egg, you saw a beautiful audio skit, or you must have heard that skit, right? So what is the purpose of life according to that? Universe keeps evolving forever. Could it be that? Birth and death or vicious cycle? Well, that cannot be the purpose of life. To mature through experiences, to become a divine being, it sounds a little deep. Or could it even be all of this? So, if you want 50-50, well, let me remove B and C. Between A and D, which one would you choose? Well, it can definitely not all of these, because if you have read the story, it cannot be the answer. The correct answer is the first one, A, to mature through experiences. In order for anybody to become a divine being, well, you have to mature, you have to evolve, right? The entire universe has been created according to the writer, according to this particular short story. The entire universe is an egg, a playground or a laboratory where human beings have to evolve and then later can elevate themselves to becoming a divine being, something like this. 10 questions. The 10th one, who is the first Indian English poet? Deliberately, options are not given here. See if you can quickly recall. It's a question related to memory, if you haven't paid attention to that. Otherwise, it's just, it assesses your understanding of Indian English poetry. We have already identified, especially while tracing the history and origin of Indian English poetry, we discussed this. Remember, the credit of being called the first Indian English poet goes to, Derozio, Henry Louis Vivian Derozio, a remarkable poet who also used his poetry to awaken the national consciousness. We discussed that, all right? Very important poet. Now, see, out of these 10 questions, what is your score? Is it an enviable score? Or you think you can still redeem yourself by answering 10 more questions? Let's go ahead and see, okay? Yeah. Question 11, a general question. Who won the 2021 Nobel Prize in Literature? Of course, this we may not have discussed. Well, could be a surprise question for you, but if you have read newspapers, I'm sure you should be able to answer this. It was in the news just a few months ago. 2021 Nobel Prize for Literature. It's not a very familiar name for many of us because it's a Tanzanian writer. It's a Tanzanian writer settled in UK. The writer is called Abdul Razak Gurnah, a Tanzanian novelist settled in UK, an exemplary writer, Abdul Razak Gurnah. Identify the type of verse here. This should be very easy, right? In fact, if you look at the slide, I have inserted a clue somewhere there. A word of dew, and within every dewdrop, a world of struggle. A short one, an element of nature. I'm giving you enough clues, a short type of a poem. Recall, we don't have many. Maybe the moment I say short one, you think of limerick, right? But limerick should be a little longer than that. Could it be a haiku? Yes, you're right, because I've identified elements of nature in this. A world of dew, and within every dewdrop, a world of struggle. My God, such an extraordinary line, such a profound line. Just, you can meditate on this, you can just meditate on this. Just note down these lines and see, you can achieve a kind of stasis, a kind of equanimity, if you can even unravel the mystery inherent in these lines. No wonder if you can achieve a state of stasis, a perfect state of equilibrium. Haiku, the answer is it's a haiku, Zen-like quality, haiku. Which of the following is not a character in Hayavadana? Well, this is something that should be easy if you have really audited our class, just the previous class, right? You have Kapila, yes, sounds familiar. Devadatta sounds familiar. Padmapani, okay, or Hayavadana, because Hayavadana is the name of the play. Could it be even a character here? Of course, it was the character. Remember, a character also comes with the face of the horse and the human body. Therefore, Well, it's not Padmini. Remember, the female protagonist is Padmini, not Padmapani. Therefore, the correct answer is Padmapani. Okay, so that's the answer. Question number 14. Who coined the phrase theatre of the absurd? Theatre of the absurd. Harold Pinter, Samuel Beckett, Martin Esslin, Franz Kafka. Who coined the phrase theatre of absurd? Well, if my memory serves me right, in the early 1960s, could it be in 1962 that somebody wrote a book of the same title, Theatre of the Absurd, and from there, of course, we've come to identify that particular kind of drama as, Theatre of Absurd. Well, the answer is Martin Esslin. We said he's a well-known journalist and, of course, philosopher, and who has worked closely on, the plays of Beckett, Pinter, all of them. Martin Esslin coined the phrase, Theatre of Absurd. When was it? Just check it if I'm right or wrong. Early 60s, 62, could it be that? Just correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. Now, question 15. Which of the following is not a European poet? During our discussion of world poetry, contemporary world poetry, we discussed, I took you on a date with European poetry, right? Well, I took you on 2 dates. Now, I'm sure you don't forget your dates, right? Who is not a European poet? Anna Akhmatova, Vasco Popa, Yanis Ritsos, Marianne Moore. The answer is Marianne Moore. She is an American poet, a very well-known poet. The rest of them are European poets, you must have got this correctly, right? Okay. Question 16, just four questions away. What does nemesis in drama mean? Nemesis, we discussed this maybe a week ago, nemesis in drama, and we even said, if I can give you a clue, I said you could even find some kind of a parallel between poetic justice and this one. Remember, while discussing the play, we said the poetic justice and nemesis. What could be this? Well, nemesis, fall of action, climax, they are elements of drama, right? The villain, it can never be the correct answer. Villain can never be right? Therefore, the correct answer is delivering justice. Delivering justice. Nemesis means delivering justice. Poetic justice too has some shades of meaning here, but it's not an equivalent there. Poetic justice has, a little more nuanced meaning. Okay. Question number 17. Your timer has begun. Again, a question related to, types of characters. Probably our second question on types of characters here. Multifaceted characters who keep changing as the plot advances. What are they called? If there is a particular type of character that keeps changing when there is a twist in the plot, keeps evolving, what do you call such kind of characters? Flat characters, of course, the flat means, it's like a flat line. I don't think there is any scope for evolving. Confidante characters, well, round characters, yeah, it sounds all right, because round, evolving and all this. Right, if that's your guess, you're absolutely right. The correct answer is round characters. C is the correct answer, round characters. Okay, yeah. 3 more questions. When the narrator is not a character of the story, then they are referred to as what? You know very well narrator plays an important role. Most of the times you have the narrator who also acts as one of the characters. The novel begins with one of the characters. So but most of the times you find a narrator who is not a part of the story, who is not a part of fiction, but keeps narrating as if they can see everything from above and describe what's happening in the mind of every character, what's happening here in this situation, all those things. What kind of a narrator is it? Well, the correct answer for this is, third person narrator, because first person is, The narrator is part of the fiction, one of the characters, generally protagonist. The protagonist begins speaking. When I woke up, I found myself transformed into a huge bug. Now, can you recall, this is the famous beginning of an extraordinary novel. I discussed it. It's by Franz Kafka, Metamorphosis. So here it's a first person narration. If it begins with I, me, my. Second person, of course, in grammar, first person, second person, you. If there is a novel that begins with you, of course, very few novels have been written using second person narration, very few novels, but they could be an extraordinary experimental novels, because the moment you say you have to go there, most of our instruction manuals are like that, you, yours, second person narration. The answer is third person narration, also called omniscient narration, right? That's when they are not a part of the fiction, but they know what is happening here and they keep describing events, mindsets and all that. Omniscient narrator. Okay, yeah. This is the last but one question. Who is Thespis, or who was Thespis? The first ever actor, because we use the adjective thespian. Dilip Kumar is a thespian. Amitabh Bachchan is an extraordinary thespian. So who was Thespis? Thespian is an adjective born out of a noun, Thespis. Who is it? Could it be the first ever actor? Could it be the first ever theorist of drama? An influential king who held drama competitions, we remember, right? In Athens, beginning with 5th century, competitions were held, especially for adjudicating which is the best tragedy written in that particular year, things like that. So could this Thespis be a king, or none of these? Right, of course, since we associate with, thespian means a great actor, so Thespis is the first ever actor, the first ever actor who used masks to portray various, characters in that particular tragedy, who introduced, character to, along with the chorus. Thespis, the first ever actor, remarkable, We owe our movies, we owe our theater and drama to this particular guy, Thespis. Okay. Yeah. The last question here, very easy one, again a question related to drama. Now, what do you call a group of actors who wear masks in order to sound, or in order to say that you can't distinguish them, they are like uniform, alike, homogeneous group of actors who describe and comment upon the action of the play. Maybe they also use a song, they dance, they recite, they even comment. So what do you call that group of actors? Do you simply call them actors? Do you call them musicians? Of course, because they also sing and dance, I said. Because if it's musicians, song and dance, choir and musicians, or chorus, what is it? Of course, this is an easy question. I don't need to make it, playfully complicated for you, because you've already guessed the answer correct, or you've already, got the answer correctly. The correct answer to this is chorus. The answer to this is chorus. Okay. Now, of course, it's time for you to quickly reassess where you stand vis-a-vis this particular course. As I said, if your score is more than 15, that means you have made remarkable progress. Even if your score is not 15, don't worry. Please watch wherever it is relevant. We have put in an extraordinary effort. You've already met my team in the you've met my team in the form of Iman, Rifat, Bidisha, who responded to the play Hayavadana. We have put in an extraordinary effort in designing these classes for you, in as elegant and aesthetic manner as possible, and that's why I said we have covered rather a vast stretch of ground in a span of 3 months or 12 weeks. That's the reason why, if you're feeling you have grown taller, you have grown deeper, that is the reason, So please go back and check at least a few lectures where you think, especially if you think you haven't scored well in a section on poetry. please refer to our lectures on poetry. Refer to our section on fiction if your answer is not up to the mark in fiction, or if your answer is not adequate, if your responses are not satisfactory in drama, then of course you can quick, even for the pleasure of watching all of them, you can watch it as many times as you want. All right, leave wonderful feedback. Of course, we keep meeting you through interactive sessions. In case you have any doubts at any point of time, please feel free to raise your doubts. And even if you don't have doubts, the feedback is very, very important. As a feedback plays an important role. So even if you have enjoyed, please drop in a line of appreciation, because a pat on the back can really take us further. Not just me, even a pat on your back as well. Therefore, please leave a word of appreciation if you have enjoyed it. Even if you have valid suggestions, be constructive, and you can even suggest in case there are some areas where we can improve. Please feel free to do that as well. All right, see you in our interactive sessions. All right, please take care. I hope you have really enjoyed all the classes here. Thank you very much. Namaste. See you again if time permits. All right, take care. Bye bye.